Good morning, good morning, good morning.
Good morning.
Welcome. First thing I want to do is correct something I wrote in the article this week. Everybody ready? I made a mistake, and I misquoted Charles Fillmore. Oh my, okay? Because I'm not going to tell you what I said, but I'm going to give you the actual quote. So, I'm starting off with a correction, if everybody's ready for that. And the correct phrase that Charles Fillmore used. Now, the thing to understand is that Charles Fillmore, at the age of 94, wrote this down. And it was an affirmation he decided to use, and I love it. He says, I fairly sizzle with zeal and enthusiasm and spring forth with a mighty faith to do those things that ought to be done by me. I'm going to say it again. You ready? I fairly sizzle with zeal and enthusiasm. Now, zeal is enthusiasm. Zeal is passion. Can you imagine a guy at 94 standing up there saying, I'm going to zeal. I'm going to get excited. I'm going to do things. And then he goes on to say, and spring forth with a mighty faith. Anybody have a hard time springing forth even now? It's kind of like, oh, okay. Do I really want to get out of bed this morning? Okay? Anybody agree? This morning it was tough getting out of bed because it's cold outside. And it was raining. However, you're here. And we're here together. So, where does zeal and enthusiasm come from? And it's a declaration of the way we act. I was reminded of Dale Carnegie course. How many people went through a Dale Carnegie course? Anybody? A lot of us did. Okay? And I remember saying, I think it was lesson 3, to be enthusiastic, you must act enthusiastic. And they even had us doing all kinds of crazy things. And the idea was that we can be down, we can be depressed, and we can change that state of being in a hurry by acting enthusiastic. Then he goes on and says, spring forth with a mighty faith. So now it takes faith to do things. I don't know how many things I've worked on. I don't know how many deals I've I've put together. And some I haven't put together. But the idea is you never do anything unless you have faith that it's going to work. So that's a big issue. So the enthusiasm and zeal are the precursor because I have to have faith it's going to work out. No matter what it looks like. It's raining outside today. But are good things happening out there somewhere? Yes. So the idea behind it is we can let outside forces interact with us and affect our attitudes, if you will, but it's up to us to reverse that and decide I'm going to do something because I have faith that it's going to work out. Then he goes on and says, to do the things that ought to be done by me. Now, there's a lot of things that ought to be done by me. Did you ever sit, it's like sometimes at night, I will sit quietly and thoughts come in. Well, I should do this, I should do that. And sometimes I have to stop shouldn't on myself, but it's really like an idea of Spirit gives us ideas, and sometimes the idea is to follow through on those ideas with zeal, enthusiasm, and faith. So that's what we're here to talk about today. The daily word today. You are a creative power. I didn't really read this until this morning. And in looking at it, it was like, wow, I need to talk about that. Because it says, and I'm going to read it again, because it says, in this moment I affirm there is only one power and one presence active in my life. See, we can make a decision who's running our life. And as an expression of God, would you agree? God runs our life if we allow it to happen. And that transition occurs at the thought level. Where's my thought? Where am I looking? What am I thinking? What am I planning on? So if I woke up this morning and I looked out and saw the rain and said, nope, I'm not going out today, then I allowed the outside forces to influence what I do today. It was much safer this morning. And I have to be honest, it was a lot of slug this morning. B and Kathleen got here this morning, and I wasn't even started almost, okay? And they put the chairs up and even unpacked some of the boxes back there because I was slow. And it took me a while to get revved up. I got there though. So it's funny, and there's times that those things occur. There's times when things aren't working well. There's times when things aren't the way they should be according to us. But how do we know it should or shouldn't be that way? Because we don't know the overall scheme of life. It's like the affirmation that you sang, I let go and let God. Om Namah Shivaya. I surrender to the power within me. And I surrender and let it go, knowing that it's God's plan and it's me bringing that into fruition. And the only way I know to do that is do it. So I'm wondering how many times in my life I stopped God's plan by allowing my thoughts to interfere with my good. So it's basic, really talking basics is what we are here today. But then it goes on and says, the power that flows from the one source pours into all things. As an expression of God, I claim my spiritual, you ready for this word? Superpower. So, take a minute and pat yourself on the back. Go ahead. Go on. You're a superpower. Do it. I saw somebody not do it. You see, the world is telling you what they think you should know. Okay? In other words, you're not good enough, or you're too fat, you're too young, too old. Everybody has standards for you except you. And God has set those standards for you. You're a child of God. And it says right here, okay, it says, I love the word superpower. So I claim my spiritual superpower. But it says, I claim. So I've got to say, it's mine and acknowledge it and bring it in. It doesn't do any good to talk about it theoretically. Anybody familiar with theoretics? Okay? I can give you lots of folks out there in academics and other places that got all kinds of ideas. But the truth is, who runs your life? And who makes your decisions? And who do you allow to tell you what to do? Now, in today's family, there's a lot of people telling me what to do. And it's interesting how it's almost like we give up. It's almost like we take the easiest road sometimes. So it's not easy. And I'm using this morning, if you're not here in the Austin area, it's cold out there. It's 37 degrees is what I saw this morning, and it's wet and it's damp. So the idea behind it is, it was difficult to get started, so thank you for being here. See, that's a commitment to being here. But that's a perfect example or a metaphor for being here for you in your life and doing things even though you don't feel like doing it. Or because somebody says, you can't do that. Or I'm not good enough to do that. Or I'm only female, or I'm only male, or whatever stories we've been given. Those are the stories that keep us from our good, unless we, you ready? Claim my spiritual superpower. So pat yourself on the back again. Come on, do it. Yes. Okay? So, then it goes on and says, no thought, situation, or circumstance can hold me back. Take that in. No thought, circumstance, situation can hold me back. I am stronger than any doubt from within or any judgment from without. So a lot of times people come and they'll ask, I've had people say, well, I'm not going there. What I'm going to tell you is a lot of people will come and ask, is this really true? Is this really working out? Or here's what's happening to me. Do you think it'll work? And the truth is, most of the time, it's our self-image not living up to our godhood. In other words, I have doubts that slip in because I'm not good enough. I've had people come up and say, you know what? Money's coming in, I don't know what to do with it. Isn't that amazing? And one of the fears of people when money starts coming in is, I might lose it. So if I think that, what actually happens? I start losing it. So the idea is, you are a superpower. Everybody got a book last week, yes?
It's a great book.
Randy had to get one.
Randy needs one.
Randy needs one. Anybody else? Have you read that book yet?
It's a great book.
It's an excellent book.
It's really
It's all the basics that Catherine Ponder has taught for years, And thousands of people have become successful through her work. Do you think maybe it might work in your lives? We have a study group with her work on Wednesday nights, and amazing things are happening. You should hear the stories. I'm not going there. And it takes application. So we gave you a gift, and that gift was meant for you to read so that you could become prosperous and maybe even fund our new church at 1.5 million. Okay?
Hallelujah.
Amen. Randy wants a legacy. Randy's ready to go, folks. He is.
I want to build a church.
He wants to build a church.
I do too.
Yeah.
Maybe.
You too.
You too.
What I thought about was, he used a phrase that really caught my attention. He said, that's going to be my legacy. Do you get that? He is building a building to the glory of God. That's his legacy. Wait, what does that mean? That means it's going to happen. And the main thing is, see, a lot of you are sitting there saying, there's no way I could ever donate 1.5 million. How in the world do you know that? Unless you've really looked into it. You don't know, I'm guilty of that. Believe me, it's kind of like, I wonder where it's going to come from. And we know it comes from God. So God can do anything. We just sang, I can do anything. And God within me can do anything. So who's next? So we go on. It's like I could, this whole thing. And then it goes on and says, I align my thoughts with my highest good. What is your highest good? Envisioning health, abundance, love, and success. So, I want everybody to do this. I affirm I am love. You ready? I affirm I am love. I am peace. Together, I am peace.
I am peace.
I am pure strength.
I am pure strength.
I am a spiritual being.
I am a spiritual being.
Bestowed with great power.
Bestowed with great power.
See, the minute you say, I'm a spiritual being, you are a channel of all the power in the universe. Because all the power is available to each one of us. And it's up to us, and I'm going back to, I claim my spiritual superpower. So it's up to us to take that in. There's more.
There's more.
Please use your superpower to create good in your life and the lives of others. One of the interesting ideas is that you are powerful beyond even your understanding and ability. So when you look at somebody and you see them less than a Christ, you're holding them in what you see. In other words, we know the sight is an illusion. What we see outside here is an illusion. And the truth is we're all spiritual beings at a spiritual level. So when I look at, and I'm going to use a homeless person, and when I look at a homeless person and say, well, I have to go help them because they are helpless, what am I doing to them?
You're making them helpless.
You're keeping them in their homelessness. That's crazy to understand that, and it's totally counterintuitive. But the understanding is how powerful you are, and if I see them as the Christ himself, what am I doing? I'm holding them in the Christ light so they can handle it themselves. That's one of the keys in spiritual healing. Joel Goldsmith talks about the minute somebody asks for healing, you have to take that idea out of your mind completely and see only God. So one of the keys to spiritual healing is not seeing anything that is on the negative side of life. It's a fascinating idea, and it's an idea that Jesus talks about, and as he is saying, I and the Father are one. There isn't anything else. So the whole idea behind this new beginning, remember we talked about Christmas and new birth, and then we're going into the new year, and the new year is full of all kinds of things. I was thinking we have Christmas and New Year's in our home office residence, and we had a great Christmas Eve celebration.
Yeah.
We really did. It was wonderful. And Valerie and the folks did well. And we're going to do it again tomorrow night. Tomorrow night. And it is a pop-up. But I was thinking that really it was cramped. We couldn't light candles because we had too many people in the room, and we're not going to do a burning bowl. We're going to do a chimney because outside, because, you know, too many people in there. But wouldn't it be neat to set a goal or an intention to hold Christmas and New Year's in our new church building?
Yes.
That can be done in a year, can it?
Yep.
Sure. As long as we release the superpowers of heaven.
Yes. It's a
Get
release.
in line.
It's life. Okay.
Hmm?
So I'm not gonna ask, but I'm gonna kind of suggest, I wonder who the person is that's gonna come up with 1.5 million. Or maybe it'll be spread through everybody. And my challenge to you is, we handed out, the board made a gift to everybody here of one of the greatest prosperity books. It's wonderful, it's got everything in it, okay? And how many have read it, and how many are using it, and how many are following the principles, okay? You weren't here either, so neat, we got a book for you.
Yeah.
There's another book back there. Okay, so having said that, anybody up for that?
Yes.
I really think we could, that is a possibility. Okay. Randy's ready, there's your book.
Thank you.
Here's one for Amy. Thank you.
Wrap and go.
Anyone else like get one?
Okay, I do need to, since we talked about this book.
You have one more bear cat?
I do.
Lee needs one.
Lee needs one.
Who needs one?
Lee.
Here that Sunday.
And I have
Lee
one book
Weber.
left,
Lee.
one book left for the highest bidder for me.
$1.5
$1.5 million right there.
I kept wondering what book? I missed one week.
Oh, I forgot, you weren't here. See, again, thank you for speaking up, Janie. See, how do you get what you want in life?
Speak up.
You gotta ask.
1.5 million.
Father, I want 1.5 million to manifest
We will have
in our church.
1.5 million
Yes.
for our
Because
church.
we have
I
a
want
vision board
two
to
or
follow.
more. Two or more.
That's what Charles Fillmore said.
Say it again.
When Charles Fillmore started Unity Village,
Yes.
he said that he had a vision board to follow.
Yes.
That's what we got.
Okay. I wanted, and you see, you get this idea of the zeal. See, the key to it is, I don't know, and you don't know where that's gonna come from. But if I believe it's gonna come, then I get excited about it. And if I have to pump up enthusiasm in the beginning, that's what I do. Okay? But anybody ever been in a group where there's a lot of excitement and you get caught up in the excitement? That's what we're talking about here. And it'll be amazing what will happen in your life. There are so many people trying to figure things out, being so cotton picking serious about everything. Let's lighten up and have some fun. It's true. So I'm going to read. Do you see my markers? You got to put money. Okay. I'm going to talk about that for a minute. Does anybody know the secret to success is on the dollar bill? Okay. Great. Emma Curtis Hopkins. Now, Emma Curtis Hopkins is the lady that prompted Dr. Weeks to do a seminar that Myrtle Fillmore and Charles Fillmore attended, where Myrtle Fillmore heard that you are a child of God and cannot inherit anything other than perfection from God. You cannot inherit disease from God. And she was told she had 6 months to live, and 2 years later, her pneumonia was gone. And she lived to be, I forget how many more years, 40 more years. Yeah, quite a bit. So Emma Curtis Hopkins has described the law of attraction. The world in which we live is the exact record of our thoughts. Period. Okay? If we do not like the world we live in, then we do not like our thoughts. Exaltation is a magnet for all good things of the universe to hasten to you. To me, another term for exaltation would be zeal, enthusiasm, loud voices, whatever it is, just excitement. Okay? Depression and anxiety are a magnet for trouble to fly to you. So can we get into depression? Yeah. You know, we talk about it. It's all over the place. It's like, I even hate to mention it, anybody familiar with the government shutdown? Okay. Has anything happened yet? No, but all this stuff is being, it's like, wow, what happens? What happens if? I'm tired of what happens if. What happens if something's good. What happens if our 1.5 million comes in? What happens if you be the one to create the 1.5 million and at least another 1.5 million for you and for your family? What happens if your neighbors won and they donate? Whatever it is. So it's time to do what if up rather than what if down. Anybody agree the news is doing what if down? Okay, folks, please understand the news only thrives on negative stuff. Has anybody seen a joyful thing about babies being born and this happening and that happening?
Yes. Yes.
Where?
On the news.
Where?
An EMT delivered a baby on the side of 183.
Yeah.
Who did?
EMT.
I didn't see it.
Yeah.
Excuse me. Local news, okay.
Local news, yeah.
Local news. Well, I'm wrong then. But the whole idea is there's been no, our economy's the best it's been for years. Nobody's talking about it. Everybody's saying the stock market's going up and down, up and down. You know why? Because people don't know what to do. Anytime people don't know what to do, they go up and down and up and down. And that's an indication that there's a lot of activity and there's a lot of excitement, but people are doing this and then they're doing that. So nobody's talking about the positives of things. So what I'm saying is, what if all of a sudden, all of us, what would happen if everybody had 1.5 million? We could have one heck of a church. We could build a tower down there, okay? And that's all conversation. But I really believe we could hold Christmas Eve services in a brand new building next year.
Yay.
Okay?
Amen.
And Randy's by the
Absolutely.
Amen.
there's more here, but please read this. Now, the first part of it, it's if you haven't gotten past tithing yet, please do the tithing. But then toward the halfway back, it starts talking about realistic stuff. You must begin by picturing the best for yourself and for others. Stop picturing yourself as weak or misunderstood. Stop dramatizing yourself as a martyr. Stop playing the victim. The world is not out to get you, and the world is not out to hurt you. They're only out because you're thinking that way. So maybe it'd be a good idea to think the world is there to bless you and love you. Okay? And the world loves you if you love the world. So how do you get love? Give love. Okay? So it's a whole new, it's an idea we talked about, but the reason I'm going through it again is I want us to get it and put it in place. I really do. Okay. I'm just looking at the time. Tommy's going to put a Coke up for me, so I have to be careful.
I'll keep it in check.
Anybody want to add anything? I feel the need to add. Because it's been kind of random today. It's like thoughts have been coming in, ideas came in. I prepared things, but I've looked at my notes 2 or 3 times. But I did look in the Advent book, the 12 powers that shape my life. Here's the idea, folks. We are a being here, and we're here to create God's world. We've said many, many times that you are the expression of God, here to bring into manifestation, form in the world from divinity. Now, we get lost in the negativity and we start worrying, so we bring in what we're not here to do. Okay, so we can reverse the tide of things, and as we start working on these things, we start increasing the 12 powers. And I'm going to go through this. This is in your Advent book, those of you who have it. I choose to live my life with zeal. So I can choose to live my life with enthusiasm and joy. Okay? So there is nothing that can get me down, nothing that can affect me, nothing that can depress me, other than myself and my own thoughts. And every moment, faith to feel. So it's my choice to work on faith. And what I feel is faith. I know I live in a world that is in harmony, and that my world is controlled by my thinking and the thinking of the people I surround myself with. And then it goes on to say, so strength can be what I am about. And it takes strength to overcome the doubts, the negativity, the conversations in the world. And when you're looking at something and it doesn't look good, it takes strength to look through it and see the Christ on the other side, knowing that, and this too shall pass. That takes strength. But that is a power that needs to be cultivated by the zeal, faith, and enthusiasm. Through renunciation of all doubt. Larry had using this affirmation, I let go and let Shiva. I'm not sure I need to get into the Hindu doctrine, but Shiva was the destroyer. So the three aspects that Larry was talking about are the creative side, the maintaining side, and the destructive side. And do you understand we have to get rid of the negative things? The doubt that's holding us back, the pattern that's holding us back, the fear that's holding us back. And that is asking God to give me who I really am, so I have to leave these things behind. So the renunciation is a strength of letting go of that which doesn't serve me. And then it says, I have the power to succeed. So you have the power. You have the power to succeed far beyond your abilities. Why? Because you're a superpower expressing God's power. And it goes on and says, and all the wisdom that I need. So when we are in the flow, or when we're trusting, or when we're faithful, or when we're enthusiastic, we get information that comes in, and we call it intuition, and we're told what to do, or who to talk to. Do you ever know you need to call somebody? Do you ever need to know you pat somebody on the back? That's God telling you somebody needs this. It's God telling you, do this. And we have a tendency to, no, poo-poo. Then it goes on and says, and all the wisdom that I need. So God, by definition, God is omniscient, which means all knowledge. God is all powerful. And God is omniscient and omnipresent. So God is all wisdom available to us when we slow down and listen. And then it goes on to let order out of chaos reign. So order is one of the 12 powers of man, which means things come together, logic. Anybody familiar with logic? In other words, it makes sense. It's in order. It's a sequence that goes from here to here to here. Okay? And have you ever known people that have lives that way? It's amazing because they are listening to their inner self, not the outer self. And then it goes on and says, through understanding on a deeper plane. So understanding is the omniscience, or the understanding that is God. And there's a reason for everything. One of the hardest things for me to really get is when things aren't working, there's something behind it, teaching me something to let go. So things don't come into my life just willy-nilly, they come in to teach me something that I need to let go. Even the weather, even the cold. Okay? Then it goes on and says, my imagination lights a million fires. Get that. Your ability to picture and imagine creates your world. So the question is, when it lights a million fires, what are the fires burning? What are they showing? What are they doing? Because you can imagine negativity and worry, or you can imagine God and peace and joy, abundance, health. So that's up to you to do that. Next, my will gives shape in each desire. So my will is that part of me that says, I'm going to do it no matter what. So that's on its overcoming. And then, so life is good, fulfilled, and free. So life, the essence of who you are. That inner bubbling of who you are. Sometimes when you sit around at night, it bubbles out, yes? It's excitement. And then it goes on, and love is who I'll always be. So the master power, if you will, I believe is love, which is the language of God. And that language transmits itself through you into the world, and it's up to us to continue that flow through our enthusiasm and our zeal. So many things we could talk about. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
And we're starting over again. And for me, it's kind of like it's a birth for a new beginning. So I'm looking forward to being in our new church. And I know God is providing, no matter how it looks, in many, many ways. So thank you. I love you and Happy New Year. Blessings.
Happy New Year. Thank you.